everybody, welcome to another edition of Calling All Devs, our weekly Q&A series where we take questions from you, the Star Citizen backer, and pose them directly to our developers. We're jumping right into it today because I've been dealing with some technical issues and I'm all out of the fun, happy stuff. First call this week is to Luke Presley, bigwig out of Foundry 42 UK. Luke, how you doing, man?
Hi, Jared. How are you?
I'm alright. Thank you for being patient. We've tried this call like 4 times. We finally got it. We're going to try to get this done before. We got a question for you. This is a question that comes up quite frequently, in my circles at least, spending as much time on Spectrum as I do. The question simply states, coordinate systems. What do we think the chances are? What are our intentions? What are our future prognostications, if you will, about adding a 3D positioning system so that we can better tell our friends where we are in space and our friends can subsequently find us?
Okay. Well, we definitely need one. And as with my mission hat on, I can't wait to get one. Because you can imagine the kind of puzzle type things we'd be able to do with that. Okay. I mean, I need to go away, talk to the system designers and stuff, but I'll hypothesize because I can see exactly how we do it. It's quite straightforward. Once you've agreed on the basics, right? Mm-hmm. So if you imagine the coordinates ran from, well, what's the origin, right? Is it Earth? Is it the sun? It would be something like that because we're humans and we put everything, we're the center of the universe. Mm-hmm. And do those coordinates just run and run? Because you'd end up with huge numbers, obviously. Or do they maybe reset? Kind of like you say, okay, Stanton, you're in Stanton. So you preface it with Stanton and then say 00, like the origin is the sun. Stanton,
right.
Sun. Just to start again, otherwise these numbers are just going to become absolutely unwieldy and impossible to use. So I think once we figure that out, agree on that, then it should be fairly straightforward because we have the route. We have these zones, right? The game has zones so there's the route, which is just space. And then there's you get to a planet, even inside a ship has a zone, right? And every time you step into that, you go to actually your local coordinates are in relationship to it. So if you were looking at your coordinates, stepping inside a ship from space will change them. It'd be a huge number when you're in space, down to a tiny number because you're only meters away from the origin of your ship. So I mean, you can easily get around that. I assume you can just use the world coordinates full stop. You will always be inside a space, solar system. When you use a wormhole or a jump point kind of thing, you'll come out in another solar system. We just reset the coordinates to that. So either way we do it, if we decide we do it with Earth being 00, you basically just take how far is Earth away on the star map kind of thing, and then add on whatever real world coordinates you're getting at the time onto that, and bingo, you've got coordinates. Again, too unwieldy to really be telling your friends. So that's the thing we have to figure out. Because at one point I really wanted like sectors on planets. So you can be I'm somewhere in here. Because again, with a mission hat, that's, oh great, we can say it crashed somewhere in sector, blah, blah, blah. And get you searching for it, get you scanning, all that. And we can still do that even with coordinates. We say the last known, these things are basically, they're not broadcasting constantly. So they broadcast their position every minute or something. And when this thing has crashed, you only get the last known coordinate, so you go there and scan. So basically, the answer is as soon as we figure out how to be able to present it in a way that isn't million, I'm at 0429x4, forever, and where do we show it as well? That's another question. Where do we show this? Because I can't think off the top of my head a great position for it, bring up a Moby Glass or something like that, or is it always on the screen somewhere? That's probably not the best way to do it. So the UI guys would need some buy-in on this as well.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
it sounds like a question of scale. You have to decide how granular you want to drill down into it. Is there universal coordinates, and then there's system coordinates, and then within the system are there sector coordinates, as you said, and then on each planetary body, does each planetary body then have its own set of coordinates, and then do you have sectors on the planetary body? So yeah, you want to devise a system that is granular enough to let people effectively describe where they are.
Yeah, pinpoint position, but in a manageable
right,
way.
Right. So you got your work cut out for you, man. Is this something you can just hand off to somebody else, or do you have to do it?
I will, yeah.
All right. Sounds like a job for that person. All right, Luke, I'll let you get back to work.
See ya.
All right, take care, man. All right, thank you so much, Luke. Now moving just one row of seats over to our good friend, Vehicle Pipeline Director John Crew. We've got 2 questions for you about ships and ship mechanics. John, how you doing, man?
Good, thanks. Ready to answer some more questions.
I know. It's someday I'm going to go through. Somebody should count. Somebody in the studio audience, go through and count all the questions and see if John is the person who's done more than anybody else. I think it's a pretty good bet. But I know Luke Presley is getting up there.
Yeah, Chad as well.
Chad, Rob Reiniger makes a healthy showing. I'd be curious to know who does.
We need a scoreboard.
We need a scoreboard. Somebody make me a Calling All Dev scoreboard. All right. John, I know you got a meeting to get to, so we'll rush through this here. 2 questions for you right off the bat. If I salvage a fuel tank off another ship, can I use any of the fuel inside to get me home?
So I don't want to rule things out permanently forever, because the sort of salvage is going to be not strictly for Vehicle Pipeline. But Tier 0, no, you're just salvaging the item, and everything inside it is just this contained item that goes into it. I mean, if you're going to put it in a big grinder, it's obviously not going to survive out the other end. Maybe if you have special equipment, like you have the Vulcan's drones, you would salvage the fuel separately first.
Like configure the drones, say, I'm going out there and you're looking specifically for fuel.
Because those drones can do refueling, rearming, repairing.
Exactly.
You could use the Vulcan to, not the reverse of refueling that ship first, and then salvage all the parts manually. It's like it's got a cargo bay, so you could go out there and cut those bits. But no, to start with, it's just you're going to grab that item, it has its contents, and you sell or convert it as needed.
And for viewers of Calling All Devs, I encourage you to check out Dan Truppin's answer. It was either last week or the week before, very recently, where he talks about how his team is scheduled to move on to salvaging as soon as the completion of asteroid mining, coming soon in Alpha 3.3, is all wrapped up with a nice bow. All right, next question for you. How about that Banu merchantman? I know. You had a 50-50 shot whether it was going to be the Carrack or the Banu merchantman.
Yeah, you could have asked me about the Carrack, but we're going to go with the merchantman instead.
I will never ask you about the Carrack on this show.
Okay.
I'm not even talking to you. I'm talking to the Packers. No. This question says, what are the current high-level design goals for the Banu merchantman? Has it changed at all from its original intent?
I don't think it's really changed from its original intent. Obviously, it's between it, the Carrack, and a couple of other ships, it's the most anticipated or awaited ships. It's broad, high-level goals. It's still a trading ship. It's still got shops or stalls inside it where you can sell your goods, trade your goods. It's still a great big ship for being like an org headquarters. So it's got the accommodation capacity to keep a bunch of people on board. The writers have said, like, Banu trade negotiations take a long time, so we've built in sort of short to mid-term accommodation for guests. It's still got those huge honking great guns to defend itself. The one thing that sort of maybe it's changed maybe it's not changed, but the topic of speed of the ship. A lot of things have been said about the ship, officially and unofficially, and they sort of get warped over time. It is a big ship. Big ships on our game are not fast ships. So there's a lot of expectation that this ship is just going to be zipping around all over the place. That's not the case. It's big, it's hefty, it's armored, and it's got the firepower to offset that.
You're meant to have some of those Banu defenders flying around.
That's the reason they are there. And there is some interplay between the two that we've built in but not talked about. So there are reasons and things going on.
Expect that question to be added to the October questions thread and to get voted up very quickly. So you got about a month to figure out your answer to that one, John, before people.
I know my answer. I was going to save it for the ship shape whenever we do it.
Yeah, fair enough. And as for Carrick, folks, people who take my joking a little too seriously, I am joking about the Carrick. As soon as the Carrick goes into work, I've said this before, I said it on Ship Shape, when the Carrick actually jumps into the production pipeline, when it's actually active and ready to go, you will see a big announcement from me on Ship Shape with colored streamers and yeah, that day just has not come yet. So when that happens, we'll start to have new information for you, but until then. All right, John, that's it. I'll let you get back to work, man.
Cool. I'll go after these meetings.
Next week, probably.
Almost certainly. Got to get to the top of the leaderboard.
All right. Take it easy, man.
All right. Bye.
Here, bye. All right. And finally, last but certainly not least, Austin, Texas, which is where we find designer Rob Reinecker, another Calling All Devs all-star. Rob, how you doing, man?
Doing all right. How you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing okay. I've got a question for you. Now, let's do a little behind the scenes here. Normally, I like to prepare our designers a little bit. I send them out an email. We do a little conversation beforehand. We workshop the answer. That's how we make sure they don't say anything that they're not supposed to, get anybody in trouble. You know, we don't want Calling All Devs canceled because somebody says something they're not supposed to and whatnot. And, and sometimes it still doesn't work. See whatever the 600i thing was from a couple months ago. I can't even remember now. But
we didn't do that.
No, not you and I. It's usually the ship ones that get us in trouble. But Rob, I've got a question for you. I have not prepped you on it. You don't know it's coming. Because this is a trolley question. This comes up every once in a while, but for some reason this month it got voted up. So your question is, when will we finally be able to trade subdued NPCs and other players?
I can't say that's currently on the roadmap.
Human trafficking on the roadmap?
Human trafficking, yeah. No, well, I mean, there's been comments about it, throughout the development of the game, where it's just like, because they're like the slavers, are like part of the lore and everything, right? So it's come up, but
bounty hunting,
bounty hunting, that's another example of it, right?
A lot of people looking forward to bounty hunting. We've got the Anvil Hawk currently in development. The currently being built out here by the LA ship team. That's a bounty hunting ship. Lots of talk over the years about being able to capture NPCs and capture players, and whether when you capture a player, it gives you an NPC copy of that player. Maybe that can stay so that the player itself can be free to continue playing and stuff like that. But has anything been fully hammered out, fleshed out, decided on?
No, I mean we talk about the bounty hunting aspect of it, quite a bit, because we're trying to flesh out like the roadmap for the next few years. But and bounty hunting is a part of that, right? But how detailed that's going to be for the tier 0 implementation, or for that minimum viable product, is still up for discussion. So it's as a tradable commodity, like being able to actually sell them to another person,
it's a step farther, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like a whole new level of kind of craziness there. So I'd say the safe answer is probably we'll have something available with bounty hunting. Being able to trade slaves, probably not going to be anywhere in the near future. But you never know where Star Citizen's going to go, man. I can guess on this one.
Our
but,
director of public relations, who watches the show, just breathed a sigh of relief. He hasn't had it. He's not seeing it yet. But I can tell you at this point, hi. You just breathed a sigh of relief. You said, okay, trading players and probably not on the roadmap. We're not gonna add human trafficking to the roadmap,
No.
Nick, anytime soon. I'm not even talking to the backers right now. I'm talking to our director of PR guy.
Yeah,
Hopefully he's
that
still
one. There might be some legal issues with
Yeah.
that. I don't know. It's we'd have to investigate that.
Let's get bounty hunting going. Let's get bounty hunting,
Yeah.
tier 0 stuff, and let's put a pin for now. Let's put a pin in the idea of trading other players as a commodity.
Maybe.
We don't ever want to say never on calling all devs.
Yeah, that's one where we might come close to saying never. But who knows? Bounty hunting is definitely important to us. So like we definitely want that. Going and capturing people and feeling that, but not disturbing the gameplay of other people like too drastically. So that's what we're really trying to work out right now. Selling people to other people.
Probably not in the cards, guys.
Right now.
Probably not in the cards.
And
I know who asked it. It's the same person that's been asking that question for a better part of a year. And I'm not going to name any names, but that person knows who they are.
Yeah,
I did it. So that's it.
Hey, and is it safe to say that just because you got this question voted up doesn't mean that you can throw out more outrageous stuff and expect it to be at the top of that list?
No, I don't mind the outrageous stuff. It's up to the community whether they want to blow a calling all devs question on voting it up or not.
Yeah,
it's entirely up to the community.
We get so many questions.
We put that power in their hands. All right, Rob.
Anyways, that's a good one, man. That's the first time I've ever been asked that question. So that's I got a new one.
All right.
Today. Thank you, sir.
All right, I'll let you go. Take care.
All right, cheers, man. Later.
Bye. And well, that about does it for this week's show. A special thanks to Luke Presley and John Crew and Rob Reiner for taking their times. Remember, you can submit your questions for consideration each and every week up on the thread, up on Spectrum, and don't forget to vote. That's the two-pronged plan. You got to submit your questions, you got to vote on your questions. The September thread is up now. The October thread goes up next week. So for Calling All Devs, I'm Content Manager for Global Video Production, Jared Huckabee. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Thanks for watching. For the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42, you can subscribe to our channel, or you can check out some of the other shows, and you can also head to our website at www.robertspaceindustries.com. Thank you very much for watching.